All right, welcome to the show. Today I've got my good friend, Carl Shawn Watkins, and this is going to be a great show today. I'm really excited. Selfishly, it's an opportunity. It's an excuse for me to just hang out and chat with Carl myself here for the time that we've got him. But I know all of you are going to benefit a lot from the wisdom, the nuggets that this man is going to drop from a life that's full of experience and wisdom and a lot of lessons and value to share with us today. So, Carl, tell us who you are, who you serve, and what we have to look forward to.
Man, my name is Carl Shawn Watkins. Man, I am a studying civil rights attorney, also a little bit of family law. I'm kind of divided on which direction I want to go. I think it's possible to do both. Also a business owner. I'm a CEO of Carl Shawn Watkins Consulting. I think I got about a little bit over a week, and I should have that LLC. So right. it'll be officially done, and everything will be going good with that. And what I do, I say I'm a consultant because it's Carl Shawn Watkins Consulting, but I like to tell people and I like to give people an edge and some understanding that I'm not a consultant, and a consultant has a direct professional thing that they do and they engage in. I offer consulting services because what I do through my vulnerability and through the faith-basedness is that which I work. I coach, I mentor, I do speaking, and I do leadership. And through the vulnerability of showing men how to use their vulnerability as a superpower, I engage with them, and I have programs and outlines and things set up that this is what we do. And those services is where I empower that vulnerability at, whether it be you're in leadership, whether you be in command of people or you got people under you, management, supervisory, CEOs, C-suites, whatever the case may be. And also speaking, I do speak to departments, I speak to conferences, all of those kind of things. And I also add the mentorship because I got a few people that I'm mentoring now in the essence of them going through schools, going back to get their masters, being empowered by, just the fact that my vulnerability is not an obstacle. It's actually a superpower that is enabling me to get into those places and deal with those situations that most men are having problems with, and they won't admit it.
Yeah, that's gold. That's I think that's going to be the title of today's show, probably your vulnerability into a superpower. And I think that's a meaningful topic for men. And so I'm excited to dig into that with you today because I think a lot of guys view vulnerability as weakness, as we were saying just before going live. Right. And we're gonna tap into that today. Vulnerability is not, it's seen as something almost outside of masculinity. To be a man has no vulnerability, and that is farthest thing from the truth. We're going to show you today how owning your vulnerability is the path to strength. And when you ignore it, you will remain in weakness. It's like the skinny guy who never goes to the gym because he's scared of being seen as skinny. You got to own that you're freaking skinny if you want to get some muscle. You got to own where you're at to get to where you want to be. And if you're going to be scared of vulnerability, then you're just a little boy who's scared. And I think there's a lot of guys out there who just need to hear it as it is. And so, Carl, I'm so excited to dig into this with you. But before we do, tell us what brought you to where you are today, where you're able to own that vulnerability as your strength and know that it doesn't hold you back. And just clue us in. What's your story? What's brought you here to where you are today as a mentor, as a coach, as a consultant? And just having that confidence.
It's actually, like I say, being in school, I'm always attached to the Cliff Notes. The Cliff Notes version of this is short and concise. Is that I was abused as a child, and that abuse turned to addiction, which was alcohol, and that alcoholism kind of like almost destroyed my life to the point where a couple of times I had contemplated suicide, and I actually thought that it would be better if the world didn't have me or I wasn't in the world. And this is the point and the place I was at. And most of the times when those kind of things happen, you don't deal with it, and you carry a lot of things, especially when you have a trauma early in your life. You carry a lot of those things, and a lot of that harbored and waited on me. And I just came to a point where I didn't know what else to do. And most people call it epiphany. Most people say, shining light or whatever you have it. But I think I was awakened by my relationship with God and him giving me an understanding and knowing that I brought you through this for an example. And most people can't grab that because the first thing you want to say is, oh, man, why I had to go through all of that? I never get the why me's. I never put that as a part of my life because I grew up in Chicago, on the streets of Chicago, tough area. Anybody knows Chicago, Illinois? They're on the map. I mean, drugs, gangs, violence, you name it, police corruption, you name it. I grew up in it, and I was in the heart of the South Side. And you either sports or in a gang. That's what you were as a kid. Good for me. I played sports, but I played sports which I was pushed to because of the trauma, the sexual abuse that I endured as a child. So I had to find some other way to get that energy out that was progressive to me and also protected me from being around those that were doing that to me. And sports was that thing. It always carried me away from home. I was gone for long times of the day. I'd have to go home and deal with those kind of things. And when you have that in the home, that's pretty much where my story got. And just to fast forward that through that, I went to the military. I enlisted in the Army, calling myself getting away. I got there and just a 19-year-old in Germany, alcohol, just parties, it just really just manifested itself. And I never dealt with what it went on with me. I never came to grips with this is what happened. I never went to counseling. I never talked to anybody. And then from that point, just came to the depression.
Yeah.
I fight people when they talk about the term of functioning alcoholic because there is no such thing. If you have admitted that you're alcoholic, that means you need help. That means you're not functioning.
You're right.
So whoever came up with that, it sounds good. It's good Aesop fables, if you would. But as far as it being real, it's just not real. Because when you're alcoholic, you're not functioning. You have some memory functions that actually work, that you know what to do. But you're not functioning. You're existing in a hell, really, here on Earth. And at that point, man, I just came out. I was M1 tanker. I'm sitting on the tank. We carry 45s, and I just sat on the tank a couple of times and just said, it would be easy to just shoot myself out here on the range and it'd be an accident, and I wouldn't have to answer any questions anyway. And that's how the enemy had me with everything that was on me, man. And I came in and I didn't do it, and that night, man, I kind of got like this journey kind of thing. And I went on that journey, and this is where I am now. And even though the pandemic has kind of like evoked this back up, what I kind of suppressed it even after that point. I knew I was there to make a difference and be a difference. I coached, I mentored, I did all of that in jobs and corporations. I've been doing that work, period. But it was a different calling when the pandemic came. And I started talking to some people on a level of mental health and what they were going through as men and what they were really not sharing with their spouses, and not in the essence of grabbing info to attack people, but just giving the people an opportunity, or men an opportunity to say, yo, man, this is what's going on with me, man. Yeah. I can't tell anybody else this. I can't tell my wife this. I can't tell this. This is what it is. They think so much this of me, and this is where I'm at mentally. And when I saw that, I said, okay, Lord, I know what my calling is. I know what I am to do. And I know why I went through what I went through, because you made me strong enough to be able to be that example that people need to see. So that's where we are today, man.
Yeah. I love it, man. That's there's so much to dig into right there, but I just want to pause on and just call out what it takes a champion. It takes a hero to acknowledge all of that right there. And I know that's why there's been a lot of resonance, a lot of alignment between us just from the first time we chatted, is because I hear more of your story, and as you've heard some of mine, that there's just so much. We share pain, even though we've had different experiences. Absolutely. And for you to work through that, and that's where I want to start taking this in the next direction. I just want to hear, because I think that both of us, we've experienced a lot of repression. Right. Yes. Like that's the deal. A lot of suppression, repression, don't know how to deal with the pain, the trauma, wherever that came from. And I think a lot of guys out there sometimes don't discount. I just want to speak to any men out there who are going well, I don't have an extreme circumstance. Don't discount whatever the pain is that you're feeling that you haven't dealt with. The longer that sits there, the more it builds up. Whether you had extreme trauma or not, if you've got pain, you need to learn how to deal with it. And that's what we're really talking about here. Here you have a man who's been through incredible pain, abuse as a child, and learned to direct that in sports. But still, what he's telling us here is you can learn to direct that, but still not deal with the problem. That's powerful. Carl is giving us power, and that's what we got to dig into here is you can direct it. You can go join the military. You can run. You can drink. I mean, I know that too. You go drink. I used to drink till I blacked out as often as I freaking could. I couldn't afford that much alcohol on my own, was where I was at. So like, there's a party, I'm there. Keg stands, I'm there. Hold me again, hold me again, hold me again until I'm passed out, blacked out. And then I don't even have to care about where I'm puking because other people are cleaning up for me. It's embarrassing. But that's where I was at. I wanted to be blacked out. I did not want to be awake because I hated my life so much. So I know, you can say you're functioning, but whatever it is, wherever it is where you feel an empty void on the inside, that's dysfunctional. Your life is falling apart. And as you called out, that is hell. Heaven or hell or the state because eternity is in the moment. And that's the powerful piece of becoming fully present to who you are now and to the present moment as you're really entering into the state that you're in. Is that heaven or hell? And that's the hard thing. And that's what we're dealing with today too. Is like the vulnerability to actually own the state that you're in and the experiences that you're feeling. Man, that's big. But when you do, you're going to find a lot of power and healing through that. So I want to start digging into that with you,
absolutely.
And also to say, we're two men of faith here too. And I think that's another piece. I know that God had his hand on.
I couldn't do it without that, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't be who I am today without God. I couldn't be who I am without that relationship with him because I didn't have answers. And it's sort of like, you won't get answers to a lot of things until you have a relationship with Creator. When things that are made, is just take things on the natural. We don't even have to go to the spiritual. When things are naturally made, the Creator knows how that works. If they have created it, they got the inside knowledge on how that works. You may say a light, something simple we use every day. You may know how to flip that switch, but you didn't create that. You just got a vision of how to utilize it. But you don't have a relationship with that light, because if you flip that switch and it doesn't work, then where are you? Because you didn't create it. You don't know what it takes to do it. So therefore, the same thing is with God and his people, man. He's created us. So if we don't have a relationship with him, all the things that we're doing, I used to call it a lot of time, we're just doing busy work. We're just passing time, engaging in a lot of activities, trying to think that we're busy, and we're not accomplishing, we're not achieving, we're not impacting, and we're not changing lives because we're just busy running. It reminds me of when I was playing sports. And my mom used to pick me up, play football and basketball. She dropped me off at one and dropped me off at the other. I was always running, which was fine with me because I was running from something. But as I got to be older and as I got to see and I got to really understand that God was letting me know, be still. The same thing that's happening to the earth today. The pandemic, a lot of people don't want to admit it. They may want to talk about it. People say it ain't really what it is. It's a little bit more than the flu. Or I've never known anything in my lifetime. Now I'm gonna be 54. I've never known anything in my lifetime that has shut the world down like the pandemic.
Yeah,
I mean, we're talking about China with billions of people. You look on the streets and there was a ghost town. It's something more than that, and it's something that he's trying to get us to see. Take it easy. Don't take for granted that you're able to go out and do these things, that you're able to walk, that you're able to breathe, that you're able to see. All those things that we just throw by the wayside just because we got a job, or we figure we got a house to pay for, or we figure we got kids to put in college, So those are the gravity. That's the gravity of things that we don't understand until you get a relationship with the Creator.
Yeah, and that's huge. Let's just. I just want to have everybody's attention really focus on what you just said, because it's deep. Because you're right. There's a lot of voices on both sides. There's a lot of polarity about this, and we've talked about this too. Like, whatever your political opinion about the pandemic or the scientific or health, whatever you think about it, the reality is it's a global crisis.
Yes.
Whether you think it's going to kill you or not, it's a global freaking crisis, and it's damn right. It's calling out like. Go sit at home for a while. What are you going to do with that time? And that's the crazy thing is we've been stuck, like we had that period where, we were just forced to be at home. And like, that's a scary time for people. But that's a time where really that harkens to what we're talking about, is being present to yourself and being able to tap into how you really feel and deal with that in a real and meaningful way. I love what you just said, because it's calling out that deeper truth to what's going on, because we can argue about stuff up here on the surface level. Yes. But what's really going on is we're being called to be present and called to be more grateful, more appreciative for the gifts that we have in abundance on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And it's taken away. And then what do you do? Who are you?
And it's from everything, and from the simplicity of things. I'm a big sports fan, so I have tickets to stuff and going to games and that was halted. I couldn't go to no basketball games. And
Mm.
then after a while, it was halted so much, and so you couldn't even see it on TV. Like,
Yeah.
they had to try to figure out how to play sports and figure out even the restaurants. I mean, Friday night, I would look forward to going out with the family, having dinner or something.
Mm.
That was cut down to somebody delivering it, dropping on the porch.
Right.
These kind of things just got me to thinking in where we were at. God's trying to tell us something. Like you really, really, you've been doing it all the time, but no one pays attention. No one was paying attention. Only a select few, those who really was in tune with you, in relationship with you, was kind of getting the message. And then I think God was sort of like, it kind of reminded me of my dad when the whole house made him mad. Just when he just took a deep breath and just let out a yell, the whole house went silent.
Mm.
So everybody knew we had to be still.
Mm.
And I think that's pretty much what God has done to the world. He's like, I've been talking to y'all for years. And a lot of people won't acknowledge that. And it's however you think about it is how you think about it. You get to talking about the different calamities and the catastrophes and things that's happened. Hurricane Sandy up here on the East Coast, Hurricane Katrina out there in Louisiana. I mean, 9/11. I mean, so many tragedies that's come to kind of shake us.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd be okay for a second. And then after that, and I look at this pandemic, and a lot of people call me crazy when I say it. This is just sort of like the final frontier. Like he stopped the whole world. Like before, it was sections of the world. Wars in Afghanistan, like bombings in the UK or whatever, the hurricanes and tsunamis over Asia. Like it was areas, and this pandemic did everybody. Like nobody was like, and all at the same time. So he said, I'm gonna let this happen to everybody at the same time and let you think about it. And like you say, no way that ever you think about it, you've had to deal with this stuff in deep. And that's where I went. I went to reading. I went back to praying. I went back to giving that meditation time. I went back to those things where I would just fly out the house with a cup of coffee. I'm late for work. Right. Rush home. Oh man, I got a class. Or, I got back to a routine of saying, okay, God, you're first. So now let my life go. Let my day go, So those are the things that we got to get back to.
Yeah. I love it.
Not preaching religion, just preaching life, man.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah. I mean, it is. That's what we're talking about. So let's take that lens on it, right? Because it's these. What just struck me is like we have the same thing go on internally as what you were just talking about externally, right? We have these external reflections, and my perspective is our internal life really determines our external experience, right? So I mean, and then we have on this mass scale, what's the internal state at mass is manifesting into our external, experience. Because in some way we as a society create our society, and then on the individual level, we definitely create our own experience. Like it's the power of gratitude when you can appreciate and be grateful for it. It's how you turn. So with the old alchemists are always looking for turning lead into gold. Well, we can do that when we receive something that feels like lead. I got to be stuck inside. And as you were just saying, well, yeah, it just brought you back to a place where you could actually be back into a routine that brought you to, brought you to a better place, a healthier place. So that's where I'd really love to hear more from you now is what have you done to take these internal circumstances that are challenging, that are difficult, right? To go internally and deal with this stuff and to become a more whole person.
The biggest steps and what we oftentimes don't do is, man, we have the fierceness and we have the ability to take things head on, except for the things that keep us from moving forward. And when you talk about that, you say, wow, man, how is that? Like, I am strong enough. I'm like that lion in the jungle. I'm fierce. I protect minds. There's nobody can do anything to me. I got this. But here we are on the inside, it's broken little lions. It's sort of like the Lion King story. We running around the lion like the little baby one before Mufasa. We're broken down on the inside, and we're not looking for help, and we're not looking for guidance. What I started doing is started saying, okay, what bothers me? What has kept me from being who Carl needs to be?
Yeah.
And when I started like putting this, and a lot of people, I tell people a lot of times when people get journal, I write things down. I write down everything. I'm writing down stuff as we talk. I write down this because it's a reflection to me. So when I go back and I look in that paper mirror, or whether it be my phone or wherever I've jotted it down with, I have a reflection looking back at me. And most of the time when there's a reflection, there has to be something done there because you can see it but it's just like a reflection. If you move your hand in the water, it's gone. So what we had to do, and what I had to do really as steps for me, I had to go back on the internal and say, okay, this is what you're not doing. This is what you're not tackling. This is what, and then I just made steps for myself. And those steps, I think that is pretty much what I wrote up programs for my coaching, for my mentoring. Those are the steps that we have to take as men to say, okay, I'm going to deal with this because I'm not going to be whole unless I do. I'm not going to be able to help anybody. We got a million coaches out here and everybody's coaching everybody, but it's the blind leading the blind. Because if I got a coach that has not dealt with internal issues, that has not dealt with things going on with them, they're passing it to me like it's really a cold. You passing me a cold.
Yeah.
You're not well and you're dealing with me. So once you leave for me, I'm going to be sick too.
Preach it.
So then when I get my little sickness from you, what I do? I go around my family. I go around others. I infect them. That's what we're doing and infecting. And that is the biggest difference that I say with how I coach, because it's from a holistic faith base. I got a foundation of knowing that God is the answer. He's, no matter how you call him, your higher power, names, I won't split those with you. But it's something that's higher than you, that's out to direct you. So however you do that, once you start that, I say, oh, okay. So I want to be in coaching. I know that I got what it needs, but am I whole to? Am I going to take on people and take on clients and take on jobs and speaking engagements and things of that nature? And I can't speak truth to who I am.
Yeah.
It's a problem with that. And we're doing that over and over and over again. And this is really where God has given us this time to say, okay, I'm giving an opportunity to wash those things.
Yeah.
Get whole with yourself and see how effective you'll be. Yeah, it ain't gonna be a bunch of likes. It ain't gonna be a whole bunch of followers in the beginning, and you ain't gonna build up no mass following because everybody ain't trying to do it. Everybody's not trying to get it right, but you'll get those ones that want to get it right, and then you'll see the impact you make. The millions, the minis, the many inbox messages I get from, man, I read that, man, and it's like, what you wrote just changed my life. I don't know you. I'm on the other side of you. I got to talk to somebody the other night from Malaysia, man. I was talking to them, and it was like 7 something in the morning. It was like 9 something for me. And they was like, man, I ain't even get up this early, but I just wanted to talk to you and do this Zoom with you so I could just talk to you, because I've been reading your stuff for months. That is powerful, man. And then you understand, and God showed you with that. This is why I have you here. This is it.
I love that. And I just want to, again, just pause and go deeper on this, because what you're calling out there is essentially you cannot be a leader if you don't lead yourself, right?
Yeah.
You can't, how are you going to help others if you don't help yourself? And
absolutely.
And at the same time with that, and there's this beautiful dance and almost irony there that I want to dig into with you. I think you're somebody that would be good to talk to about this, right? It's you have to, you want to be a coach. We're both coaches, right? We want both to have a passion and a heart and a calling. Truly, we both stepped into, through our pain, we've realized that, hey, we have a calling to go and an obligation on some level. You said,
responsibility, definitely.
Yeah. You're not, it's not just why me. Well, I mean, it is the right question, but it's not in the sense of, as a victim. Well, why did I go through that? It's more about, how did this equip me would be the better way to spin that question. It's not why me as in I'm a victim and things are going bad. It's no, what is this equipping me to become? Who is this forming me into so that I can accomplish something meaningful for others? And that's a powerful thing is, as you were saying too, tapping into God. How do you conceive it? Right. Where do you want to, we're not here to discuss how you define God, but we are saying that there's something bigger than you. And the other thing that's bigger than you is your purpose, because it's your calling, your obligation, your responsibility to impact the lives of others. As you're saying, there's somebody in Malaysia. You never knew you were going to impact some, but what the pain that you went through equipped you to become somebody who could speak the right word at the right time to be heard across the world by somebody who needed to hear that. That's powerful, and that's bigger than you. And you can't step into that until you go beyond yourself. And I think what you talked about is the key to going beyond yourself is to confront yourself. And to see your shortcomings, to see your limitations, and to actually own that. And that taps right into vulnerability. What is vulnerability? It's to look in the mirror. As you said, is that mirror the paper, your journal, right? However you keep that, keep a journal. If you guys want to learn how to journal, talk to one of us. We'll help you out. You got it. You got to start journaling.
I'm keeping notebooks all the time. I got notes I'm always taking, man.
And have that pop, because being able to look in the mirror
Yes.
Mirror work, right? Who am I? Hey, how are you? And ask that question really in the mirror and see, hey, how are you doing? When was the last time you asked yourself that? You know what I mean? For most guys out there, probably hasn't been for a while because it's pretty damn uncomfortable. But you got to go do that and actually tap into yourself and see, because you're going to come up against your own limitations. You're going to come up against, I'm in pain. I am broken. And so that's where I really want to get at with you, is like, because I think you're somebody who understands, like, you know, I look at it, I'm challenged every damn day because I'm like, I want to go help people, but I'm a broken person.
Yes.
But I do the work so that I'm not passing on, I'm not trying to shove off my brokenness, as you called out. If you don't confront it, you do shove it off. But when you do confront it, you have this painful recognition that I'm inadequate at some level. And yet, because of my inadequacy, because of my pain, I'm meant to do this work. So, I mean, speak on that for it. Let's dive in. I want to hear your words on this.
Yes, it's just being parallel to what you're saying. You have to put in that work, and it's something that you got to be committed to doing. Because when I first started that, and I said I was going down this path, there was no way of turning around because I had wasted so many years of not doing the things that I needed to do. And that was not anything so high supreme. It was just a simple fact of being able to be a whole Carl. And though, no, I'm not saying that like you're going to be fixed, you're not going to have problems, you're not going to have issues. The point of working on yourselves gives you a determination to continue the process. And now that I've started the process, I'm excited about the journey. I'm excited about the journey now because it brings excitement to those parts of my life where I thought didn't have meaning or I didn't understand the meaning. So now with the work that's being done, the meaning to what I'm doing is being unveiled, is being revealed. People are understanding that they have to be in tune, not only with themselves, they have to face themselves, but ask God to give you help. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, ask the Savior to help you. He'll help you out if you want to do it. It's just like anybody else. You can't go to that and then that transition to your vulnerability, because then you have to realize and say, oh, I need help.
Yeah.
I need help. I can't do this by myself. So once the relationship comes and he empowered me with the meditation and the praying, then the direction comes. So now when I get a direction or I get some information or I get some understanding, now I can impart that into somebody because it's whole and it's real. Not to say that I haven't got all together. I have not established or accomplished all I need to do. But what it is giving me a tool, and now I'm the avenue for which you can get on the right path now, because I've gotten on the right path. I think another portion of the Bible said, once you've been converted, go back and get your brother so you can convert him. So therefore it's a each one teach one. Yeah. So once I've got it in and I know how to do it, then I can pass it on. So now we can be fishers of men and not just eat for one day. So now we know how to do it. Now we know. So when I come across you, you come into my program or your program and we get established down to the root of what it is, because it's always a why. You drank because. Yes. That high because. Yep. You know, it's always a why. So don't sit up there and say, I'm alcoholic and I don't know why. I drink myself until I black out. I don't know why. I do drugs until I almost overdose. I don't know why. Right. Yeah, you might not know why, but there is a why. And when you ask that why, when you do the work to find that why, when you encourage yourself to say, I'm not going any further until I find the why. And once you do that, then the process has become, and then you'll see things work out so much easier. Peter, man, I can't tell you how many times that I started to do things before this process of evolution came about, that things were so hard. Now, things like come to me. And when I say that, I don't mean it's like on Easy Street or Front Street. But what I mean is like being able to engage with people, being able to not be shameful about past, being able to know that I've been forgiven, being able to pass on to you the strength that you may need in a moment of weakness, to be able to engage with those who have not been where I've been and understand them, give them an option, give them a physical being that they see was once in a place they was. You know how powerful that is when you sit across from a person and say, you know, I contemplated suicide and I didn't pull the trigger, to a person that is thinking about suicide. And then they get to see a visual picture of, man, I could be you. I could be you. I could come out of what I'm in. And this is what brings me joy about what I do, man. It's a conversion. And that conversion is what it motivates me. That conversion is my passion. Converting people is my purpose, because I can't save everybody, but those that I come across, you're going to get enough where if you want to pull yourself out, you'll be able to come out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 That's everything right there. Is the why. Why
Yes.
are you drinking? When you get to the root of that, I think the other thing that's crazy about that is you get to the root of why you're drinking, and it'll also tell you why to live. You know,
Yes.
I feel like that was part of my experience was, you know, again, like, yeah, I was empty and I knew I was drinking for a reason. I didn't know what it was, but I mean,
Sure.
tapping into why it is that I want to live, what my passion, what my purpose is, you know, and realizing also my own inadequacy in the face of that and gave me reason to grow. Like there's so much that taps into, but yeah, it comes with that, again, the vulnerability of actually stopping and confronting, hey, why am I doing this? Instead of just going back to it or
Yes.
beating yourself up for it. Right. And trying to, so yeah.
Because if you don't ask, it's why, to me, I tell everybody the foundation is no matter what stage you're in, no matter whatever you're going through, no matter what level you think you are. And I tell people all the time, yeah, I know a lot of words. I'm kind of educated. I studied the dictionary. I kind of know what terms to use, where to place them, those kind of things. But there's a level that everybody start on. I don't care if you're a Fortune 500, 150 corporate exec sees that there's always a why in communication. That's with everybody. Everybody has a why. I don't care if it's the wino that's laying in the street. I don't care if it's the person that don't have a home that's sleeping in the subway. I don't care if it's the penthouse guy who got a Benz waiting for him downstairs. Bodyguards all around, whether you're on stage, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a star. Everybody begins with why and communicate. Because, okay, I want to know why. Why is these things going on? And once you investigate the why, the cause of investigation is communication. I figured out the why. So now I want to work on the why. How do I ask questions about the why? How do I get fixed from the why? How do I put in my work for the why? How do I get better from the why? And that's how it goes. And that starts with everybody. That's on everybody's level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So tell us a little of what are some steps to take to start finding that why? And then communication, right? Like, what's that look like?
Oh man, the steps that you should take, and the steps that's most important with is facing that. Now, whatever courage it takes you to do that, whether you need a partner in that, whether you need, what I would say with that is a prayer. And I say that and I advocate for that because that is a relationship with your creator.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be this big old Heavenly Father, all created, manifested prayer. When I first prayed and didn't know the meaning of really the understanding of prayer, I just prayed like I'm talking to you right now. God, I'm at the end. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do. And that's all it took. It didn't take me no dialogue. It didn't take me to start doing Hail Marys. It didn't take me to start doing the crosses. None of those things. I just got to a point and said, God, I don't know what else to do. And when I got to that point, then the steps came into place. Then I started dealing with things on me. You have to go into you because it's your work. I can give you steps to do it, but it's still your work. You have to go in and say, what am I not comfortable with?
Yeah.
It's up here because you've been playing or dancing around it your whole life. So it's not like I could come and tell you what's going on with you. I'm just telling you, you know what it is. So come out. If you have to write it down, 1, I don't know how to communicate with my wife. 2, I got a problem with this. 3, write it down, and then each one work on. Okay, what can I do this better? How can I do this better? Once I get you around me and once I get you involved in, and how I set you on a path to do things, we've got to discover things. A lot of people have a discovery call, but if you get on a call with me, it is actually a discovery. We're going to find out what do you really want to work on, because I'm not going to waste your time, and I'm definitely not going to have you waste mine, because it's someone that wants what I have. And I ask you that, I'm going to say, yeah, this is a discovery call. I want you to give me 3 things right off the bat, top 15 minutes that you're not doing, that you want to do.
I like that.
And don't give me no superficial, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be 7 figures in 3 months. I'll get rich quick scheme. No, something holistic with you. Look, me and my wife, we just don't conversate right. We don't talk right. Me and my children, they haven't been in my life ever since they was an adult. I can't get them to be in my life. I can't stop drinking. I get whatever it is. Let's get those, and then we get the systems in order. And then you have to do the work. I did my work. I'm still doing my work. The Lord is still helping me to do my work.
Yep.
And those are the tangible steps that you can take to move past that. And then we can put in some designs and some patterns that you have to form, because things have to be done for 28 days before become a habit. So we're going to put you in a system of doing this 28 days until it becomes like, oh, that's not a problem for me anymore. Let's move to the next thing. And that's how we do it, Peter.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. And I love back to that prayer, right? I mean, what you just voiced there. I mean, that's heartfelt, right?
Yes.
It goes beyond thinking about what you should or shouldn't say.
Right.
And it's just right down to, what do I need to say?
Right.
And I think that hits it on the head right there. Like, even in the journal, like, absolutely, I'm right there with you. Like, absolutely, I'm a proponent of prayer. And however, again, like, however it is that you find that you're going to conceptualize that, fine. But the main thing is when you can cry out from your heart and recognize that you're calling out to that which is greater than you, things do happen. But it has to be, what do you really want? And I love that that's what you're calling out there too. Like, well, what do you want? Well, I want to be a millionaire. I mean, my answer to that is, well, why? Right? Cool.
Right. Because I go back to the whys. Okay, what's your purpose?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that?
Why do you want that? Let's dig into that deeper and deeper.
It's superficial. It's not even solving any of your problems, because once you get to be a millionaire and you're not whole on the inside, you're going to create more problems because you got money and avenues now to get to stuff.
Yeah.
So you're just going to create more situations that you're not going to be able to have, that you're not going to be able to resolve.
Yes.
But therefore, if you resolve those inners, everything on the outside will be fine, because you're working on the inside. You're working on self. Yep. So you're going to take self with you.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go.
Yep.
So if you don't work on self, I don't care what situation you're in. I don't care what penthouse you get. I don't care what home you get. I don't care what estate you build. I don't care what yacht you buy. You still, self is going wherever you bought something. And if you haven't fixed self, it's still going to be a catastrophe for you.
One of my favorite quotes is where a place cannot save you, for there is no place where you can escape from yourself.
That's it, man.
Boom.
That's it.
Right? You just hit it. It's about becoming a different person.
Right.
And somebody wants to be a millionaire, great. I support you in that goal, but you have to become the person that is able to accomplish that. You know,
can you handle that?
Yeah.
You know, can you handle that? Because it's a reason everybody's not a millionaire. Because if it was something everybody can handle, I think we would have more of them, right? So it's a reason that, whether you want to say strategies that you use, or you was in the right place at the right time, your name got on some kind of pattern, however you want to design that $1 million, is people that don't have it because of certain reason. And I'm not going to say that everybody's claim is to be poor and you not have, but sometimes you have to look at things as, am I responsible enough with myself to even have that? Because sometimes God thinks he keeps things away from you because of you. You know, I'm not going to let you have that, because I already know you. And you're not going to be able to handle this. And I don't want you to kill yourself, or I don't want you to destroy yourself. So I'm going to keep things at arm's reach at you and give you some motivation and give you some determination to be better inward, so you can operate and manifest yourself outward.
Yeah. I think Einstein has the quote, if I remember, that one of the most important questions or decisions we can make is whether we live in a basically a friendly or hostile universe. I'm not getting the words correct, but I believe that was, and I just love it from a figure who, he's a science figure, right? But he's speaking of that which is beyond science. It's metaphysical. It's the question does come down to, because if you believe you live in a friendly universe, that means God, universe, right? It's out for your benefit. That means that if you are experiencing lack, it is for your growth. It is for your benefit. And that comes back to the vulnerability. And I think let's actually dig into that word, because it's been the theme, really. If you look at it, that is the theme of what we've been talking about. It's the ability to have the vulnerability of, like, I don't have what I want in my life. First of all, it takes vulnerability to understand that you don't have that. Also, it takes vulnerability to acknowledge what you actually want, because you're acknowledging your lack. And then the vulnerability to actually put in the work and recognize, this is where I'm lacking. And it's why I don't have what I want, is because I probably abuse it. Well, shoot, that takes vulnerability to understand that. So let's dig into that. How is it that, especially for the men out there who are struggling with this idea that vulnerability is somehow feminine, or it's weak, or all this stuff, let's pry the lid off that and start looking at, like, vulnerability is your path to strength.
Let's debunk that myth automatically. First, let me give you guys a kind of like example Vulnerability is not what the dictionary tell you it was. Now, I'm gonna say that again for those who didn't hear me. Vulnerability is not what the dictionary tells you it is.
Right.
And when I say that, I don't mean that the meaning of the word written is not what it means. What it means is individualized to everybody because everybody can be vulnerable in their own way. But what we have to do and what we have to look at, and we have to utilize vulnerability as a power, not a weakness. So with you being vulnerable, when you are in tune with your own self, meaning you understand the things that you can't do. And men have a problem with that. I mean, whether it be in relationship, maybe you're not the best counter. You can't keep the money. Maybe you run through the money, and the wife is the better accountant. We got a problem. We're not going to let the wife handle the money. I mean, I just use that example because, we can all talk about money. Or maybe the wife is the better planner. And the guy he just got an attitude and he wants to be over everything because he's the man. See, these are things right now that we fight with every day for the simple fact of not being vulnerable and being in touch with our own self to say, okay, that's a part of me that I'm not good at. See, because that's really what vulnerability is just saying it's taking an area of you, of whoever you are, and saying, okay, I'm not good at that. Let's see if I can get help with that. So either if I'm by myself to be better at it, or if I have a companion or other or relationship or leadership or people under me, let's see if I can get someone that understands that, work with them on that, and let's get that accomplished. Vulnerability, of course, we know that it can be detrimental in the essence of you sharing everything, but go back to that. Vulnerability is not telling everybody your business. People get it misconstrued. They get the wires crossed from that. Me being vulnerable is not sitting here telling you A, B, C, D of everything in my life. That's not me being vulnerable. Everybody can't handle me being A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
So the vulnerability is the points and peaks and parts that I'm educated enough, smart enough, and understand enough that I'm okay with that. So I'm going to share that with you to reel you in, to let you know that I was once there. This is what you can do to get out of there. And see, that's where we use vulnerability as a superpower, because if we start opening up some of those gates to our heart to certain ones, we'll save more than we have been.
Yes.
Not everybody, but we'll save more than we have been.
Yes.
And this is where men get it construed, because we'll go to the barbershop. I ain't had a haircut in about 20 years, but I still get my beard done. We can go to the barbershop. I sit in the barbershop 2 hours, man, in the chair, just talking to the guys, shoot the breeze about LeBron, shoot the breeze about football. We're so comfortable talking about those things. But when we get to a point and say, okay, man, I know, we've been talking a while. Look, I'm just going to tell you this, man. I'm just having a problem with this, man. This is what I struggle with, and this is what's going on with me. Like, have you heard of this? Is this something that you're dealing with? Unless somebody else in on it, they could be like, yo, you know what, man? And you'd be surprised. 9 times out of 10, the person you want to tell that to, they got your answer. And your procrastination is causing you not to go through with what you need to be complete. Because a lot of times when you get that unction to talk to that individual who's God put there, and you don't tell them, you miss the opportunity to clear up. Because a lot of times I have people in my life that I was like, nah, I ain't gonna tell them. I want them to think such and such a way. And then when I got back around and I did it around Robbins Barnes, as the Southern people say, my grandma used to say, once I went around Robbins Barnes and came back to the front of the door, those people, once I got on track, they was like, oh man, you should have told me that a long time ago. I didn't know you was dealing with that. I passed that up, man. This is what I did. This is how I came up. But it was in my mind to tell them, but I didn't because I was fearful. I didn't because I was prideful.
Yeah.
And those are the things that's really hurting us. And I want everybody to be clear. Being vulnerable is not telling everybody your business. Being vulnerable, vulnerability comes with being tactical, because there are people that want to take that vulnerability as something they know about you and they want to hurt you. This is true. I'm not going to lie to you and say that doesn't happen. But by it being your superpower, what you can do is get ahead of that. So I don't have a problem telling anybody what went on in my past, because I've told you. I don't care about you going to find it out, Google it, or however you want to do. That's not harmful to me. It's a power to me, because I've let you know that happened. And look where I am now. That didn't hold me back. I think I put a post the other day. I was just reading some stuff. I was thinking some things, and I was talking about, I think my post is like, if you're robbing the house I used to stay at, I said, if you're robbing the house I used to stay at, I don't live there anymore. That's not my stuff. So, that's letting you know right there. I moved on from that. So you think you're doing something. You think you hurt me by robbing the house, but that's my old house. That's why I used to live. I'm in a new place now, so I got new furniture. There's new things going on. My life is doing better now. So that old house that you said, and that's why I left it at the end. That's not my stuff. It's not my stuff anymore.
That's good. This is gold, and I love that distinction. And vulnerability. Well, yeah, let's look at it this way too, right? Like if you don't practice vulnerability, you're running scared. That's what it comes down to. And that's one of those things I just want to like drop the hammer on this thing, right? I think vulnerability is weak. I think being scared is weak. I think being scared of your past and living in an old house is weak. And being scared of all those people that are trying to come rob you because you're trying to keep the secrets. It's the same thing about mold, right? You shine the sunlight on it and it dies. It goes away. But you pack it up behind a wall and it can grow as much as it wants to, right? That's the problem with a lot of the issues that we deal with inside. It's like mold. You got to get it out in the light where it can be healed. Now, that does not mean, as Carl is saying, and this is gold, like it does not mean you're going around and you're just telling everybody everything about yourself. Yeah, there's manipulative sociopaths and psychopaths out there that are ready to take advantage of you. But the only way you're really going to be prepared for them is if you confront those deep, dark places in your own heart so that you're not running scared. Because if you're running scared from yourself, you're going to be running scared from the world, I think that's great.
And I like that terminology, running scared, because the simple fact of it is you're not facing the things that has caused you so much. When you look back over and you take an inventory, and I'll tell your viewers and your network this, when you go back over your life and you take an inventory just from where you've come from to this point now that you are in your life, and you haven't addressed those things that have kept you from being, it's no telling what you would have been. And it's not like you're living in the past. It's like it's affecting your future, because a lot of people don't understand the things that they've had, the things of your past that are manifesting in your present is affecting your future. So if you don't address the things of the past, they're manifesting right now in your present. They're doing things in your present. So your future is already going to be jacked because you haven't took the time to consult with the things in the past to clear that out and say, okay, this is why I am like this today. So now I can be intentional about not being like this for the future, So those are the things like, you really have to look at it. And that's been some soul searching that I have had during this, 13, 14 months of the pandemic. I just started writing stuff down and I started facing stuff. So, okay, Carl, I'm not going to be that Carl. Nah, that Carl, nope, not going to be that guy no more. I'm intentional about it. When I see my attitude goes towards that way, or I see my behavior drifts towards that way, I smack my own self. Yo, dude. Remember, we said we was doing this. So, and that's what you have to do. Hold your own self accountable. If you can't be accountable, let someone know something you're doing so they can hold you accountable. Let someone you know that you trust, that you feel with, whether it be an agent of change or whether it be someone that you really can trust. You know what I mean? I tell everybody, get a sponsor. You don't have to be in no program to get a sponsor. You don't have to be in AA, NA, all of the anonymous gamblers and all. You don't have to be in none of those programs to get a sponsor. Get an accountability partner. Say, look, man, this is what I'm starting to do. They get it when they work out. People get it when they go to the gym. People get it when they want to be mentored. That's what mentoring is. Mentoring is accountability partner. Yep. Get a partner and say, look, this is what I want to work on, man. And when I'm not working on that, man, you tell me. And you count on that person to tell you until you get it to a point where it's part of you. Yep. And it's not running you.
Yep. I think a good mentor, a good accountability partner is somebody that is able to do that for themselves too. And I think that's
absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad you put that in there. Don't go just don't go grab Larry, Curly, and Mo. Make sure you get somebody.
But I wanted to give you the shout out too. Like, I mean, that's what equips you to be this. That's why you're doing what you're doing, and that's why you're a great person for anybody watching this to reach out to. It's because you're willing to look at yourself, and so that makes you worthy of being that person for somebody else, right? Like for anybody that's out there and you resonate with Carl, reach out to him, because this is somebody who can hear you without judging you, because he can look at himself without tearing himself. He's looking at himself to build himself up. He can do the same. He can see more in you than you can see in yourself. That's a good mentor. That's a good coach. Is somebody who can hold you accountable, not to just some random standard, but to who you could be, to your potential, so that you can become who you want to be.
And that's where we use it. The basis of and the requirements is that I see more in those, and it's not like I see dead people. It's not a ghost kind of thing. It's kind of like a discernment that I've gotten, that I can see more of what you can be than what you are, for the
Mm.
simple fact I saw it in me first.
Yes.
When I was at my lowest point, I saw that I could be more.
Yep.
And that gave me the unction to understand that there's other suffering in that spot. And you may be well, like, all the superficial stuff. Keep telling yourself, oh, I got a car, I got a home, I got a job, I got video games I'm playing, I have no cares in the world. You're not whole. You just got some purchases that you made
Hear
to
it.
waste your time. When I say waste, I just mean wasting you working on yourself. I know we buy things that's fun and entertaining for us, but a lot of times we buy that's distractions.
Yep.
That's distractions to keep you from working on what you need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, when you get down to that, man, look me up, man. Look me up, Carl Shawn Watkins. I'm on LinkedIn. Look up that name. CarlShawnsDailyWord.com is my website. It tells a little bit of the story of how I got from point A: abuse, addiction, depression, survivor. That's the top line of my things. And they connect the dots. One hand was holding hands with the other. When the abuse got done, the addiction took over. The addiction was playing with the abuse all the time. Then the abuse got left behind, and addiction says it's my party. And when the addiction was going on, the depression was playing with the addiction. And once the depression got tired, they took over and they sent the addiction on. And I was left there holding the bag, wishing I had never lived. And who would think that? Who would sit there in whatever you're in and say it was better for me not to be born? I don't think that. I don't think any rational person in their mind, regardless of what you're going through. And I know you've been through some things, because if I tell you the whole story, you'd probably be like, wow. But I know you've been through some things. I know you've been to some places, and I've been some areas where you just thought that it was no other way. But there is a way. There is a way.
This is good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and here you have an example of somebody who found, who's who's done that.
It's a real thing, you guys. It's a real thing. And when you get to that, oh man, it's an emotional thing, but it's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the real thing is that the spirit in you is letting you know that you have more to fight for.
Mm.
The race is not over. The scripture says the race is not given to the swift, nor to the strong, but it's given to the one that endures to the end. So endurance is the key, not strength, not speed. Endurance. This is a marathon. So you're going to have things. You think the runners got there in the first 5 miles, they don't come out there running all full speed. You ever watch the marathon? They come out with the little trot.
Yep.
They just trot. They just trot for miles. And then you see them at the end, they pick up the speed as necessary to win the race. And that's the race that we're in, whether you're going through something, whether it be depression, abuse, addiction, something, talk to someone. So I'm not a clinical professional, but I am a professional who has lived it. And I'm a professional who's on the other side of it. And through the help of God, I can help you too.
Yep. Yes.
Love this, man. Love this.
Me too. So good. Well, we got the answer to where to find you. Are you on Facebook? I was looking for you the other day.
No, I'm not on Facebook. I can see, it's one of my last avenues. I'm trying to master. I've gotten LinkedIn down.
Okay.
And I got my Instagram. I just started doing they're working with me trying to do videos. I'm trying to do the little get. And I got a lot of stuff posted on there, and that's my next venue. And I also got to get to YouTube. When I do my shows and my podcast, I kind of like put them on both levels, but I don't broadcast enough from there, from YouTube, because to me, they say it's one of the better to do, but my caption and my reach is in LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And most of those that's in LinkedIn have that connection with Instagram. So I'm trying to put that together. And Facebook, I know I did not leave you guys out. I just haven't gotten there yet with the savviness, but I'm hooking up with people that have.
Just making sure that I wasn't missing you the other day, because I wanted to connect you. But yeah, we'll definitely be dropping everywhere that I put this. I'll be dropping your website and the best contact place. So reach out to Carl Shawn. It's been such a pleasure.
Man, it's been a pleasure, man. It's always lovely talking to you, man.
Oh man,
it's always good, man. It's always good. It's like, it's like we catch up. We pick up right where we left off.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing about being friends, man. That's a good thing about it. You don't have to be your friend, and your family is who's there for you, who supports you, who loves you, who be there for you, who won't judge you. and those are your family. I know that you have some that's blood and you can't help that. Those were chosen for you. But your friends and family, they will choose you because they'll be there for you. They'll be there for you, man.
So,
Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff.
absolutely.
Yes,
So,
I'm gonna share this with my network, man.
absolutely.
Yes.
Well, yeah, we'll wrap up the recording here. But yeah, we'll have to have Carl Shawn back. I can tell there's so much more we can go into. It's great.
Yes.
I feel like we were just barely scratching the surface.
Scratch the surface. Yes, yes. We'll do that. Man, just let me know, man. Anytime you want me on, if you want me on another one of your avenues, man, or whatever you want me on, man. You reach out to me, let me know. I'll clear space because it's what I work for. I mean, my calendar's full. I got people in here, but I can move people around. It's just not circumstantial. I can move them around and say, look, I'll get back with you another day because this is my life work. This is what's important, and this is why I do it.
Good. Yeah, I love it. Well, likewise.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, thanks for joining us today. I know we've got a few of you who are watching us live. Thank you. Left us some comments. We'll be catching up with you, going back through those, reading those, and definitely connect with Carl Shawn. We've got Carl. Remind us your website. I'm going to drop the actual link written, but
Carl Shawn's. Yes, Carl Shawn's Daily Word. It's Carl with Shawn's with the S and dailyword.com. And I can be found on Instagram at Carl Shawn's Daily Word altogether. Runs together. If you need any my consulting services, they are on the website, Carl Shawn's Daily Word. It's my consulting site. It lets you know what I do, how you can book me, how you can get in a call with me. I do Zooms. I'm not this guy that just charges these fees for everything, all like that. I'm about making people better. And if you're committed to doing a process of doing that, we will work to do that because that's what's important to me.
Awesome.
Important to me is making people whole once they've left me. And that's what it's all about.
I love it. Well, again,
Yes.
Thank you for being with us. We'll wrap this up and see you all